Well, he's a good friend.
Humble.
Very inclusive.
Trusting. Thoughtful.
Great stamina.
He's very genuine and caring.
He's a great friend.
Dave's mother and father both were only educated through grade school. My grandfather had to leave going to school in the 3rd grade to work the mines down in Kentucky and Alabama. They eventually migrated to Canton, and I think Dave didn't even have running plumbing facilities in the house until he was about 10 years old.
Well, he came here from Canton, came here to play basketball, and was a very successful basketball player. And I know that he had a chance to play professional basketball, and I think the guy who was the owner of, at that time, the St. Louis Hawks, talked to him, knew that he was going to make the team, but also knew of Dave's intelligence and the fact that he was had been admitted to law school.
Many students come here and many leave, but he was one of the ones that came and stayed, and he was a good one. Glad he came and glad he stayed.
Well, he's done a lot for this community. Serves on the board at Busey Bank and First Busey. I think he's committed himself to this community for his whole lifetime.
Dave gives. Dave's wealth really comes from his ability to help people and talk to people and get people involved.
Dave became a critical advisor and financial advisor for Marriage and Stivic Kinnigo, who owned the News Gazette and the radio station properties. Dave encountered and dealt with some exceptionally challenging situations to retain the newspaper and radio station as a local entity after Mrs. Kinnigo's death. Not many people know about it. I was an insider, and Dave's never really shared much about what was going on in that regard, but I know firsthand that for all intents and purposes, back in the early 2000s, Dave saved the media company for this community.
This goes back to our own law firm, and it involves both Dave and Jane Hayes. Stuart Mamer, one of my longtime partners, who's now deceased, mentored her when she first started practicing law. Stuart came in and he was really down, and I said, what happened? He said, well, I just got really bad news on one of my sons whose cancer has gotten much worse, and he was really depressed. And then about 15 minutes later, he comes back in and he said, gee, Dave and Jane called and they want to come by and see me. About an hour later, Jane and Dave had come and left, and Stuart comes back in the library again, and he said, I'm just blown away. They are setting up a scholarship at the University of Illinois College of Law in my name.
Things have changed a lot over the years. Everything from technology to hairdos. Curly perms, and I don't mean mine. Dave used to actually have a curly perm. Dave built the building in 1985, and it kind of looks and feels more like a house. And it was always kind of funny because when we first were settled in here, people used to walk in and ask us, is this a house? But I think that Dave wanted it to look and feel more like a home instead of the traditional business setting, because so much time is spent here.
Well, I think he's done masterful work for our family to begin with, and I know of other families of some prominence. I know through Dave that he's done financial plannings for them, and I just think he's very talented at what he does.
Well, I think Dave is a very intelligent man. The good thing about Dave as far as an entrepreneur is that he listens, he takes advice, he gives advice, and Dave is like a team player and works very well with many types of people in many different organizations.
He was innovative in the insurance world. He testified in Congress and did that sort of thing, and in committees in Congress, and so he was a well-known person of the industry, and He was helped found a company called the M Company that was a brokerage company that developed unique products in the insurance world.
He has a vision. I mean, he sees the forest rather than the trees, and he can see the broader aspects of business and actually of society as a whole. And he also has a very reasoned and thoughtful way of expressing himself.
Dave likes to give you suggestions on what you probably should do, but he doesn't give you direct feedback to do it. He may put a magazine on your desk and say there's an interesting article in the magazine, but he's not going to tell you specifically to read it. But a few days later, he might ask about what was in the magazine, so he did have an expectation that I would read it.
Dave gives you the opportunity by getting your foot in the door, but he's not the type of leader that will take you by the hand and lead you and say, you must go down this path. He lets you figure out what's important to you, what your passion is.
He's a terrific communicator, very likable guy, and very articulate about what he believes in, and he really conveys a sense that he cares about you and he listens well, and as a result, a lot of good things get done as they have in his life.
The way I knew he was coming home is he had an old '66 Corvette, and when he would round the corner on Prospect onto Armory, I could hear the mufflers on that car 4 blocks down at our house, and I knew it was about the time to play catch, shoot hoops, or go out and throw the football.
He's been a committed father. He's paid attention to what his girls and son have done through the years, and I think he's done a nice job in staying related to them and knowing what's going on in their lives.
I think Dave is a strong family man. He is a committed individual to his children. I've met all of his children and seen Dave interact and all this in family situations, and Dave is just really a great guy and a good family man.
I know in talking with his kids, they love their dad. His grandkids love him, and they're very proud of who he is. But when you see Jay here, who lives here, his son, as well as Jill out in California and Jennifer up in Chicago, they have kind of the same caring, trustworthy demeanor about them, which I think really flows from Dave.
I don't remember exactly when I met Dave, but it was very soon after coming to coach at the University of Illinois. My earliest memories of Dave are hearing about the great Illini basketball player who had 53 points against the University of Indiana. We bonded more in the last 10 years. We both had a little more free time to do so. So lunches at the bowling alley have been a great way to become closer. I was thrilled to be inducted into the U of I Athletics Hall of Fame in the same class with Dave. That was really special. He's been a stalwart leader, serving in many advisory capacities. His philanthropy directed toward the U of I is very well known. He's also one of the best selections for this stellar award the committee has made to date.
Warmest congratulations, Dave, from two of your biggest fans. Go, Dave!